Alright, so now we're at the outside part. This is the encampment. Here's one of the tents Wendy will be living in our backyard. Here's how we will furnish the floor. It's a lovely space. Oh. Hello. Good. You cold?
A little.
Yeah.
I bought my felt cap for a wool one this morning.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm
that's
expecting the captain's tent. So the captain would be in charge of a company or 60 men, this cluster of tents here.
mm-hmm.
And serving under him would be a lieutenant and ensign. So these are tents for enlisted soldiers, 6 men assigned to each tent.
6 men in those tents.
Mm-hmm. And the officers' tents, 1 to 2 men per tent. Officers had money to buy some nicer things, and their lives were a little more comfortable in camp. They also needed space to do their paperwork and record keeping. The largest tent in camp is on your left there. That's for the lieutenant or full colonel. He would be in charge of the regiment, about 500 soldiers total. We have 3 presentations if you'd like to see one. Medicine right there at the surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about cooking over at the kitchen. And at quarter after and quarter till, we have musket demonstrations by the tree line.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Let's go see the big tent and then we'll do medicine. Okay, maybe this one will be Wendy's tent. When the gray hair is dead, Magua will cut out his heart and eat it. That's totally what this tent reminds me of, and only Kelsey will get that. Why does Magua hate the gray hair? Ooh, those are cool back there.
Hey.
Good, how are you?
I'm alright, where are y'all visiting from?
Utah.
Nice, thanks for coming out east to see us.
Yeah.
This here is where we talk about the surgeon and the medicine in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine there's a lot of challenges. Not enough resources, not enough staff. But the biggest issue is they can only treat with what they can measure. And of course that is limited by technology.
Mm-hmm.
The microscope is still relatively new. They really haven't had a chance to develop germ theory yet.
Yeah.
And without germ theory, well, there's going to be about 26,000 American Continentals that perished during this war. And disease, infection, malnutrition is responsible for about 19,000 of them. So they are doing the best they can, but the surgeon, he's got a lot of responsibilities. He's dealing with apothecaries, disease management, dentistry, battlefield wounds, wear and tear, anything that is not extremely severe. Extremely severe, like amputations and such, they're being sent to a hospital.
Yeah.
But these are all reproductions. You're welcome to pick them up, get a closer look. If you have questions about the tools or any of the topics that I listed of responsibilities, I'm happy to go into more details.
What's this one used for?
That is a root elevator. If a tooth has been extracted and parts of the tooth that are still left behind, that's used to dig it out.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fun.
there is very little
That's
pain
fun.
management.
Yeah?
There is no numbing. There is no putting a patient under, so any sort of procedure, they're awake for it. Yeah, it's brutal. But better to go through the agony of having a tooth extracted than let it turn into something septic.
Yeah. Oh my
And
Lord.
everything in the box there is from musket ball extraction.
Oh.
And so the thing is with these tools is, like, there are concepts of cleanliness,
Mm-hmm.
but cleanliness is based off what they can measure. So if you were to determine if something's nasty or not, what are some of the ways you can tell that it's nasty?
Uh,
Black? Okay, so visually.
Yeah.
So there's the visual cues, and then what's another big cue?
Smell.
Yep. So they're usually basing hygiene off of sight and smell. So these tools, they're not covered in blood and gore. They don't smell bad, so they probably would have been considered good enough to be put inside the human body. So there's basic levels of cleaning, but there's no sterilization. There's no cleaning at that microscopic level.
Yeah. And they did have toothbrushes, or that's not a toothbrush?
Oh no, they're both toothbrushes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Bone or ivory handle, wild boar bristle. So officers are probably only using this. This style has been around for quite some time. It's not just a stick they find off the side of the road. It's typically licorice or sassafras root, some sort of fibrous root that as they chew it, it creates those fibers to clean their teeth. And I still get visitors who come out here and they talk about back at home, like if they're low on supplies and such, that they have certain trees in the area they know they can use for cleaning teeth until they get a delivery.
Interesting.
So they are, and they do not really toothpaste. Tooth powders are more popular. So trying to use something that's slightly caustic to rub on the teeth to knock any gunk off of it. And this includes charcoal, brick dust, black powder, cinnamon, just something that can slightly abrasive, but they have to be careful because what else could it take off?
The enamel?
Exactly. And they do write that in these dental magazines, like these women in health magazines, that don't use it too much. And then they also recommend saltwater rinses for gum issues, or as they called it, the scurvy of the gums.
Oh.
Which my dentist still says I should do every day. So that's a very old cause and effect observation. They noticed that, oh, this helps with gum issues.
Nice. Are your, they're not mittens, are they warm? They keep your hands fairly warm?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do. I like it that they're long, so
Yeah.
I can like stuff them under and such. So no, no, they're pretty decently warm. I can always layer up more if I have to. So, but having this really heavy cape is nice.
Yeah.
If you've noticed me, I've been just over here burrito in it. Like,
Yeah.
Yep, I'm good. And then you had a question.
What is this one?
This is I love this one. Trephine or trephine. It is a very old process. It is the concept of removing a fragment of skull to alleviate pressure on the brain. Because in the case of head trauma, there could be a hemorrhage, there could be a buildup of blood. There's a lot of pressure on the brain. So without scanning technology, human beings figured out that sometimes they need to relieve pressure on the brain. So make an incision in the skin to expose the skull, and use this to drill out a fragment of the skull to allow an exit point for that pressure.
Delicious.
And it's one of the most ancient surgical practices in history. Cross-culturally around the world, ancient civilizations figured out without communicating each other that this is an important process. There's Egyptian mummies that have holes in their heads. And it's still being done today. I have surgeons who come out here and say they have the battery-operated version. I had a visitor out here who said her dad recently had 2 holes put in to help with pressure after a tumor removal surgery. So it's a very ancient practice and a very modern practice, despite the fact that I think a lot of us would consider this way too advanced for anything outside of our century to be accomplished.
Yeah.
Now, of course, depending on the century, will determine on how great of success everything is. But it is still a very old practice.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You want some rum, whiskey, brandy, beer, cider?
Beer.
Ooh.